On the occasion of President Trump's Asia trip, those who have spent a lifetime singing from the globalist hymnal are now suddenly American exceptionalists. Those who presided over the decline of America's standing in the world now say Trump is doing this whole foreign policy thing wrong, especially when it comes to China. Here's the president earlier today.
Both the United States and China will have a more prosperous future if we can achieve a level economic playing field. Right now, unfortunately, it is a very one-sided and unfair one. We talk often. There's a very good chemistry between the two of us. I don't blame China. After all, who can blame a country for being able to take advantage of another country for the benefit of its citizens? I give China great credit.
Now, former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright did not like that at all.
He is not the center of everything that happens. I am appalled at the way that this is being presented and the way that the president talks about himself and those who are trying to help him.
Is it dangerous not to have these positions filled, or would it just be better if these positions...
I think it's dangerous.
I do like her brooch. I like that brooch. Oh, Madeleine, it's interesting to see you lecture somebody about their conduct abroad. Now, where did you learn your statecraft? Was it from Assad? How about, was it from Putin? Or maybe it was your time with Kim Jong-il. I guess you could call that sycophantic, but I guess it's more aptly described as just plain old diplomacy. What did she want President Trump to do? Take his shoe off and pound the table in the Great Hall? Of course, had President Trump actually used the occasion to really rail against the Chinese, Albright and company would be slamming him for being uncouth and unprofessional, the consummate ugly American. And then Team Obama chimed in. Here's his former ambassador to China, Chris Hill.
Is there a chance that he is kowtowing to the Chinese leader in small part because he's trying to get the big deal in North Korea?
I think to some extent that's what he's looking for. But frankly, that's not how we're going to get Chinese cooperation, by kowtowing to them. We need to explain to the Chinese why this issue is important to us, why the China relationship is important to us, and why we need to work together on this.
Kowtowing? At least he didn't literally bow down like someone else we know. I still love that shot. There's something deliciously ironic about headlines such as this from Slate today. Weak and clueless. Trump is the American president of Chinese dreams. There it is. Think about what happened to the United States vis-a-vis China during Obama's 2 terms in office, just for a second. The trade deficit ballooned every single year. American ideas and technologies were stolen. China built islands for military use in international waters. China expanded their economic footprint from Africa all the way to Argentina and everywhere in between. They poured hundreds of billions of dollars into their army, which is now larger than our army. Its standing army larger than ours. And by the way, their human rights abuses, their religious abuses, they proliferated. So no one who is not overtly anti-Trump would believe for a second that the Chinese think Trump is weaker as an adversary than Obama. Xi knows President Trump does not buy into the whole citizen of the world claptrap of the Bushes and Obamas. He knows that Trump is an unabashed believer in American exceptionalism. And by the way, that's a marked contrast to how President Obama sounded. Remember back at that 2009 NATO summit?
I believe in American exceptionalism, just as I suspect that the Brits believe in British exceptionalism and the Greeks believe in Greek exceptionalism.
I still can't believe that soundbite. And Xi knows that Trump would never prostrate himself and apologize for America either.
The early decisions that we've made, that you're starting to see some restoration of America's standing in the world. There have been times where America's shown arrogance and been dismissive, even derisive. The United States is still working through some of our own darker periods in our history. We've at times been disengaged, and at times we've sought to dictate our terms.
The bottom line is this. A lot of the armchair quarterbacks have needled the president's every move in Asia, from koi ponds to Japanese cars. But before we start taking advice from the people who ran American prestige and power into a ditch, maybe we should consider that Trump is doing something different. He's projecting American power with a lighter touch. And he's actually connected culturally with the Chinese by honoring their history and appreciating their hospitality. Now, that might not be a bad idea. It might not be a bad opening for tough trade and strategic negotiations ahead. We'll see. He's also, in a surprisingly understated way, put down the marker that he will defend the rights of the American people. And he did that in Asia, something everyone should be cheering. And that's the angle.